Today I'm following up on a request to look at a strategy, and this is the triple Supertrend strategy. Now, if you search for this, you'll find several versions. There seems to be an original version that just uses triple Supertrend, and then many other versions that add other indicators and modify the strategy. I don't want to cover them all, but I am going to look at two. I'm going to look at one that seems to be just the original 3 Supertrend lines, and then one from Trade Pro that is a modification to that. So I found a version from a channel on YouTube called Daily Investments, and it seems to be the basic version. It's possibly the original version of this, or I don't know if it came from somewhere else. But I'm taking the strategy from that video. The strategy itself just uses 3 Supertrend indicators. It uses a 10, 11, and 12 period Supertrend, and they have multipliers of 1, 2, and 3 respectively. And this link to the video for that Daily Investments version, I'll also have that link in the description of this video. The strategy itself is quite simple. We buy when all 3 of the Supertrend lines turn to support, so they're all below the price. We wait then for one candle to confirm, so that's one more candle without changing any of those Supertrend lines, and then set the stop loss at the second of the Supertrend lines with a take profit of 1 to 1.5. The sell strategy is just the opposite. Wait for all of the Supertrend lines to turn to resistance lines, so they're all above the price. Wait for one more candle to make sure that all 3 lines stay above the price. Then set stop loss at the second line, take profit 1 to 1.5. In the Daily Investments video, the test was on BTC USD from the 1st of January 22 for 100 trades, which I believe would take it to about the 29th of January 22, and so that's where I'm setting my test to run. I'm setting my lot size to 1. The Daily Investments test was on a 15-minute chart, and for this I'm using the Ox Securities demo server. I normally use the MetaQuotes demo server so that I can make sure that everyone who's watching this might have access to the same data, but MetaQuotes don't provide BTC USD historical data, so I've gone to the Ox Securities demo server for this. After I run a test to confirm the same test that Daily Investments used, I'll then run another test where I'm going to use Bitcoin, Euro, Pound, Dollar Swiss, Dollar Yen, Aussie US, and Euro Pound. And I'm going to run that for a full year from 1st of January 22 to the 1st of January 23. So now let's go in and do the detailed test on the BTC USD for that first month of 22, and then I'll follow that up with tests and results for the others. Now I'm set up for the detailed test of the standard triple Supertrend. I go to my inputs, the strategy option standard, trade volume 1 lot. Bitcoin, 15-minute chart from the 1st of January 22 to the 29th of January 22. So let's run that and see how it looks on the chart. Okay, so it didn't take very long to run through 1 month. I can see just on the graph here that we're in profit at the end, and we'll go to the detail in a moment to see that. But I can also see that it has a lot of up and down and doesn't seem to have a strong trend. So it may well be that we just happen to have finished our trade on an up. And if we'd waited just a few more days, it might have been a down. But we'll find that out when we go to the longer term tests. But for now, let's have a look at the back test result here. Profit of 3,877, so 38% profit in just 1 month is good. Undeniably good. We just have to see if that holds up long term. We had 100 trades, so that very closely matches the original. Of that, there were 45 profit trades and 55 loss trades, so a higher number of losers than winners, but at a 1.5 to 1 profit loss ratio. Then that explains why we've got a net profit. So now let's move on and do the longer term testing on the 7 different symbols. Okay, back now. So after running all of those tests, I've tabulated the results. And what we can see here is that over that full year, all of the symbols tested resulted in a significant loss. And remember, this is a $10,000 account that I was testing with. So to achieve losses of over $9,000 means that these pretty much bottomed out and there were no more trades taken by the end of the period. So this strategy over the long term is not something I would recommend, although in that 1 month where it was originally tested, it seemed to be profitable. And I think, as you saw on the charts, it has good and bad times, and I think that over a long period, the bad times overwhelm the good times. So now let's move on to the second version of this, and this is by TradePro. TradePro actually claims that the original version was not a good return, which matches with the results that I got. And he adds a 200 period EMA and a stochastic RSI, so that's 5 separate indicators now running. So the same 3 Supertrend indicators, a 10 period, 11 and a 12 period with multipliers 1, 2 and 3, and then add to that a 200 period exponential moving average and a stochastic RSI with 3, 3, 14, 14 as the setting. And here is a link to the TradePro video, and I'll also put that link in the description of this video. As well as adding the extra indicators, TradePro has changed the trading rules a little. So beginning with the EMA, only buy if the price is above the EMA. Then wait until the stochastic is crossing underneath the 20 line. After that, then we're setting in a buying mode, and wait then until any 2 of the Supertrend lines turn to support lines. Don't need all 3, just 2 of them to go below the price. Once that happens, we set the stop loss at the second of those Supertrend lines and take profit at 1 to 1.5. TradePro also adds that only 1 trade will be open at a time, so if there's already a trade open and we hit another trigger, we just ignore that second trigger. And also that if we're in buying mode, but the stochastic goes above 80 before we actually open a trade, then that cancels the buying condition. The selling rules, as you expect, are just the opposite. We're only selling if the price is below the EMA. Wait for the stochastic to cross while it's above 80, and that puts us into selling mode. Wait for any 2 then of the Supertrend lines to turn to resistance lines, that's above the price. Set the stop loss at the second line, take profit 1 to 1.5, only 1 trade open at a time, and if the stochastic goes below 20, then that cancels the sell condition. In the TradePro video, he tested using Euro USD, and it ran from approximately the 1st of January 2020 until the 31st of October 2020. I'm going to be testing that with a lot size of 1. TradePro used a 1-hour chart, and in this case I am using the MetaQuotes demo server because it has the data back to 2020 for Euro USD. So I'll run that test to copy the TradePro test, but then I'm also going to run a longer test for Euro USD, Pound USD, Dollar Swiss, Dollar Yen, Aussie US and Euro Pound, and I'll run that from the 1st of January 2020 until the 1st of January 23. So let's go in and do the detailed test first, and then I'll just run through the others and come back with the results from that. And now I'm set up for the triple Supertrend with the TradePro version. Here in the inputs I've selected the TradePro version and trade volume of 1. Euro USD 1-hour chart from the 1st of January 2020 to the 31st of October 2020. So let's run that and then see the results. And this looks a little better than the earlier version, although it is over a much longer time period, but I can see a bit more of a trend in the upward direction here. Still, that is only over 10 months, and I'm going to be running a longer test later. But let's look at the backtest result here. This shows a total net profit of 4,825. We've got 97 trades, 43 profit trades, and 54 loss trades. So more losers than wins, but at a 1.5 to 1 profit ratio, that explains why we're making a profit on this. Still, that's not a bad result over just 10 months. That's 48% return on 10 months. So that's not quite up to the TradePro results, but I usually find that my results differ. So now let's go and do a longer term test on multiple symbols. So here are the results from all of those trades, and it's a mixed bag. I can see that Euro and Dollar Yen both had profits. Dollar Yen had a significant profit, Euro not so much. Pound and Euro Pound had significant losses, and again, these indicate that the accounts bottomed out. Aussie US had a significant loss as well and would probably have continued to lose. And only Dollar Yen had a significant return over the 3 years. So this is not really a strategy that I would recommend for using across all symbols. You may want to try it on other symbols to see if any of them generate a reasonable return over the long term. But for my analysis, I would not see a reason to use this strategy. Now, when I was running the details test for the Trade Pro version, I did attempt to get as close as possible to the original results. And I didn't want to just leave the differences down to saying that I had different prices coming into my feed. So I actually stepped through the trades in a little bit more detail. And I found a difference very early in the test. So here's a screen grab from the Trade Pro video. And you can see here that there are two trades, one that's just being opened and another one that's closed recently. I tracked down the same position on my test. And let me just see if I can put the two of these charts side by side. I have my chart on the right and the Trade Pro chart to the left. And if I just add an arrow here, that's the point where I entered a trade, and that is the trade that's showing in the middle of the Trade Pro chart, the one that's just closed, or the one that's closed recently. And that's about the same point. If you actually compare the candles, you'll see it's one candle after where Trade Pro entered, and that's because the Trade Pro video enters at the close of the candle. But because you never really know when a candle's closed until the next candle opens, my trades are opening at the beginning of a candle. And I think that's reasonable because I can't actually go back in time and say, well, that's where the candle closed, I'm going to open there. And I think that's one of the possible differences with Trade Pro, that because he's basically drawing these on charts that already exist, he is actually entering at the close of the candle where the trigger is set up, where I have to wait until the open of the next candle. But then let me draw in the next arrow on this chart. Now that arrow shows approximately where Trade Pro exited the trade. And I can see that the candle there went below the take profit price, and yet the trade stayed open for some time after that. In fact, let me put one more arrow on the chart. That is where I actually exited that trade. So that meant two things. It meant that I was holding the trade longer, but it also meant, because of the rule for one trade at a time, that I didn't enter that second trade, the one that in the Trade Pro chart is just opening. So I wanted to investigate why. And while I don't actually have an image to show you, I found that it was because of spread. Although that candle where Trade Pro exited does go below the take profit, when I added the ask line to the chart, it was above the take profit. So the ask line, which is the exit for a sell trade, never actually reached the take profit until the candle where MetaTrader actually exited. And I found that that is consistent across the Trade Pro version, that trades are entered and exited at the bid price, which means that there is no spread taken into account. It also means that in some cases, trades will close in profit that otherwise would not have closed and may have reversed and gone on to be a loss. And so that's my explanation for differences between my results and the Trade Pro results, that my results actually take into account the difference between bid and ask as the spread, and the Trade Pro results are just looking at the bid price because it's really just drawing these trades on the chart. So that's it for my review of the triple Supertrend strategy. I will put all of these results up on our website, and there'll be a link in the description to this video where you can go and find that, where you find the detailed results that I got from MetaTrader backtesting. If this has been any use to you, then please click the like button, and if you want to see more of our videos, click subscribe and click the bell icon for notifications when we release new videos. Thank you for watching.